I inadvertently cut everybody off, so I'm going to give it a minute or two for everybody to come back on here. Sorry, who's ever out there right now. I clicked on the wrong button and I took it. There was 4 people on there. Now I see there's only 1 on Facebook. So I'm sorry. That was my fault. Whoever's out there and joining, thank you for joining. And let's just give it another minute because whoever I kicked off, I want to see if they want to come back on or not here. So. Okay, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started, and whoever is going to rejoin us can rejoin us as we start the meditation. So I apologize for any disruption in this. So let's meditate. So just taking in a nice deep breath. And just letting go of any stress, any worries, and that includes me on this. I, I feel bad. I'm just noticing my mind right now. Like, why did I push that button? I shouldn't have pushed it. And yet, I can't deny that my belief, my trust in my teacher's words, that there's not one single hair out of place in the universe. So maybe it was only meant for whoever's the person out there right now. Maybe it was only meant for a meditation for you and I. Maybe some people come on. I don't know, and it's not for me to know. It's just for me to share from as deep of the place that I can, from that truth of who I am, in a way that allows God to express itself through me as God expresses itself through you and everyone, if we allow that experience to happen. And of course, so many times when we get in our heads and our egos of thinking we know what to say or do, and we approach life in our own way of trying to control life rather than just allowing life to flow through us and as us. And so I don't know why things happen the way they do, but I think what's also true is everything that presents itself in life, that we have a chance to either accept it or reject it. And it has been my experience when something happens, like when I hit the wrong key and I wiped everybody out of the system, and I had to come back in, and now there's only one person on. That it's presented itself. So I can either accept that or reject it. If I reject it, it will only bring suffering and stress. That's all. And it's okay to acknowledge the feeling that, oh, I'm noticing the feeling. I'm noticing the feeling that I don't like this thing. I'm not happy with it. But recognizing that when I say I am not happy, if I were to believe that that's who I am, that I am the one that's not happy, then again, reflecting back, if I am not happy, then who is the one that is able to perceive that thought, that feeling, that belief? Oh, I wish I hadn't clicked on that button and canceled everybody out. Who is the I that is saying that? But who is the I that is aware of that thought, aware of that belief, aware of that feeling? So I'm noticing that throughout the day I have many of those statements, those I statements that says that I am frustrated. Well, if it's me that's frustrated, who is the one that is able to perceive that thought? I'm just really not happy with life. Is it me that is not happy, or am I the one that is able to perceive that thought? This is so vital. It's so vital for us to begin to recognize all these thoughts that say, I am this or I am that, are all beliefs, feelings, thoughts coming from the mind and are not who we are. When we really get this, we begin to see the unlimitedness of who we truly are. To have any thought that says, I am this or I am that. No, we are not a this or that. To say I am frustrated, we are not the frustration. To say I am angry, we are not the anger. To say I am really unhappy, we are not the unhappiness. Even if we say I am happy, who is the one that is aware of the one that is speaking that? Who are you? Are you the one that says, I am dissatisfied? Is that you? Who is the one that can perceive that thought? The more you recognize that you are the one that is perceiving and witnessing and observing and being aware of all those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, you can have any thought or belief that you want, and when you recognize that it is not who you are, there's peace with it. I said something last night to my brother, of which he used to be very, I'm going to say, thick-skinned. And so a couple times recently I have made comments based on my perception that that's who he is. And I don't know if I want to say he took offense by it as much as that he felt hurt by it, that I would see him in that way. And he was absolutely right. I was not seeing him as the truth of who he is, which is beyond the hurt and pain and beyond what I've judged as controlling or arrogant at times. He's moved beyond that, and he was never that in the first place. That was his unconscious self or his ego self, just like we all carry. And so I left the conversation feeling bad last night, like I'm not being conscious and aware that he's not that same person. And so I apologized this morning, and he said something like, no worries. And he said, Brett, it's just that. And then he said, oh, never mind. And so now I'm left feeling bad about the never mind. Like, what is it? I wish he would have said it so I could have just tried to clean up my mess. But here's the awareness that I had, and here's the awareness that I would like you to have. I thought, wow, I really feel bad about this. Who feels bad about this? Is it me? Because if it is me, who is the one that is simply a witness to that thought, that belief, that feeling? I believe almost everything that I share, that I teach with you, this is the core of all of it. To recognize that we are not the I am frustrated, I am sad, I am this or that. We are not that. We are the one that is a witness to that. Now, we have two different witnesses. Our small self, our ego self, does come to the point where there is a certain awareness. The one who is aware of the thought that I feel really bad about this. And so there's the awareness of the thought, but there's still the buying into that thought as if it's the truth of who I am and who you are. But there is another witness, and that witness is the one who is witnessing the one who is observing the thought. So you have I have the thought, I feel really bad, and I'm aware of that thought. My ego part itself is aware of that thought, but there's something else within me that is able to witness that as well. It is the witness of the witness. And the first witness still has judgment. It's grown a lot. The fact that you're even aware of any thought is beautiful. But now there comes a point in time where you have to be the one who is aware of the one who is aware. And that is where your peace resides. That is where you reside, and where peace is possible. Peace is you. Love is you. Joy is you. But you can't fully experience it from the first observer, because the first observer is still connected with the ego and still believes a lot of these thoughts. And so when I observe the thought that I feel really bad about what I said, I was still feeling bad about it. I was aware of it, but of the thought and the belief and the feeling, but I was still caught in the belief that I was the thought, belief, and or feeling. But the witness to it all doesn't need any of it to be any different than what it is. In other words, the ultimate witness of who we are can witness our ego self that says, I feel bad about this, and be completely at peace. So if you're still caught in the awareness of the ego self, this is good that you're still being aware, but you're still being pulled into the drama, the stress, the struggle, because you're still believing that you are that thought. You are the feeling behind that thought, that I feel bad. So I invite you to keep noticing when you hear and you're aware of these thoughts that say, I am this or I am that. And you will see that you are none of that. Even the thought of things that your mind might believe aren't possible. Sometimes I practice with, I am cold. I'm aware of that thought and that feeling, and legitimately my body feels cold. But is my true self cold? And is cold, and I have it wired up as cold is a bad thing. Is cold a bad thing? Why is it bad? Why is that sensation bad? Why is the feeling that I'm hot? Why is that bad? There's some people that can walk around in t-shirts during the wintertime, which amazes me, that are completely fine and they're very warm-blooded. And there are other people that can be in extreme heat and be at peace. These are all thoughts and beliefs, and the more we recognize that truth, we begin to see that there are no limitations within us other than what we believe. There are no limitations within us other than what we believe. And some of you have probably heard this before when I had my awakening in 2015 for some hours, and it was at that moment where I saw clearly, not just saw, I fully realized in that moment that I was not any thoughts or beliefs about who I am, that I was beyond all the stories, the personality, beyond the self-images, beyond any concepts or ideas of who I thought I was. And in that moment, I had a clear realization that I am not limited in any way whatsoever, that with God, or as God that we are, all things truly are possible. And what we call a miracle, our true self simply sees that it's just a natural truth of who we are, because we're not limited by the beliefs. Right now, I just feel a tremendous sense of gratitude to be sharing this with you, because every time I share it with you, there's something that deepens within me. There's a deeper realization of, with my there's not a deeper realization with the truth of who I am, because you can't deepen that, but there's a deeper awareness and realization within my egoic self, where my ego begins to disappear and fall away more and more, so that only the truth of who I am remains. And I'm saying that about myself because I am a reflection of you. This is the truth for you as well. All these stories that say, I am not enough, I am not worthy, I am mean, I should be more loving, I should be more compassionate, I. This is all of the ego, all of it. All of it. The only truth behind I is the I am. And I don't mean I am mean or I am bad. I mean just pure I amness, the pure isness, the pure beingness of who you are, which is beyond all the I's. You will find this incredibly helpful as the more you become conscious and aware of your thoughts. When you notice the thought that says, I feel bad about this, boom, you can catch that thought. You can be aware of it, and then you can be aware that you are aware of it without needing to fix or change it, but simply, and this is what happened for me, as soon as I allowed myself to be aware of that thought, that I feel bad from what I said, I can notice that thought, I can notice that I am not that thought. And in that, all of a sudden, there's peace right back here in this moment. And I will tell you this, I can feel that I'm not done with this yet. It may present itself maybe another 100 times, I don't know. But it's okay. It's perfect. It's perfect because this I am feeling bad is an old belief that I'm carrying within myself that God is asking me to let go of. Life is asking me to let go of it. And I also had the experience of, as I'm sharing with my wife this morning, that I feel bad. And she was sharing some things with me, and I was triggered by what she's saying. I'm like, she's not supporting me. She's just, why is she blaming and judging me for this? This is how I feel. So I noticed I am feeling blamed and judged. Is that who I am? Do I need to say that that is the truth of me and that I need to suffer or blame or judge her. No, 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 no. And as soon as I had that awareness, there's actually a gratitude behind it. A gratitude for the thought that I am feeling bad. When we have the awareness that that's not who we are, it easily falls away. We can just allow it to pass on by, knowing it's not the truth of who we are. And the thought and the belief, like, I'm not feeling supported by her, I'm feeling judged by her. She and my brother are simply the perfect, absolutely perfect mirrors for me to see what is asking to be healed within myself, that is asking for me to simply let go of that old belief that I'm carrying around. There is something that is a truth, there is something, some kind of belief that I'm buying into as if it's the truth, and that is the very thing that's presenting itself so that I can release it and let it go. I don't know who's getting this or who is not, but this is the juice of the juice here. It's really what this is all about. It's why I teach meditation, because I get to experience this truth right now in this moment, and you get to as well. And so when you're feeling stressed and you're not liking something, your ego is not liking something, as soon as you can become aware of it, just even take something simple like the political structure. Wow, my mind, my ego might say the political structure is so messed up. It's so frustrating. I am so frustrated. Who is frustrated? Who is frustrated? Is that me? I can be aware of that thought, but who is the one that is objectively witnessing that thought without any need to fix or change it, because I recognize that is not who I am, nor is it who you are. This awareness can be a tremendous and powerful gift for you. When you are noticing that there is stress, if you can just simply notice what your mind is saying about it, and have that awareness and just allow it to pass on by, knowing that it's not who you are, things can release very, very quickly. So quickly, in fact, sometimes. And if it doesn't empty out quickly, don't judge that. You don't need to judge that. Just be aware if that comes up to say, oh, Brett said this would empty out quickly. It's not emptying out quickly. It might present itself again, maybe one time, maybe 1,000 times. It doesn't matter. You are the one witnessing it without needing to fix or change it, that you're at peace with it. And I share this with you about the I. Observe the I. And if you notice that you're having a thought that I am this or I'm not enough of that, when you have that thought, if there is a feeling behind it, you will know that there's some kind of belief that you're carrying around as if that's the truth. Feelings of judgment, of blame, of hurt, or shame, or sadness, or guilt, all of these things are flags, red flags to you that you are still buying into this thought, this belief, as if it's the truth. But if you can take one step back and just be a witness of the witness, It doesn't matter what thought, what belief, or what feeling you have, if you recognize that it is not you and it is not the truth. I'm trying to share this with you as many angles as I can for you to grasp what is being said. You may get it and you may not. Either way is perfect. You are the one that is going to even be aware of that. Like, I'm not getting this, Brett. Who is not getting it? You have that perception of the thought. Who is not getting that? Can you simply perceive that thought? You are the perceiver. You are the one that is aware of that. No. You don't get it, Brett. I'm not understanding this. Who is the one that is aware of that thought? Well, I might be aware of that thought, but I'm still not happy. Who is the one that is aware of that thought, of that belief? The more you recognize and connect with you, the one who is without any physical form, that is just pure conscious awareness. You can be conscious and aware of anything, and as long as you're not buying into it as if it's the truth, there is peace. And there is you. And just right now, just becoming conscious and aware of your breath. And maybe you had an aha from what I'm sharing. Maybe you're wanting an aha from what I'm sharing. Either way, simply notice it and just allow that thought to gently and effortlessly pass on by. And I'm feeling like I want to say this again. That when we have like a gentle breeze blowing by, actually I want to use the example that Muji uses, a passing cloud. You can observe the cloud, you can see its shape, its form, but you don't try to change the cloud, you don't try to fix it, you don't try to get rid of it, you don't try to analyze it. Why? Because you recognize that you are not the cloud. It is no different than your thought. When you recognize that you are not the thought, that the thoughts come and go. So if you were the thought, then you would come and go, right? If I'm my thoughts, then I must constantly be coming and going. What is the thing that never comes and goes? What is it that is conscious and aware of the thoughts that come and go? Because the thoughts aren't aware of you, but you, the true you, is aware of the thoughts. And that's why, just like a cloud passing by, you can do the same thing with the thoughts. The thought comes up, oh, okay, I see my mind's being busy. I recognize I am not that thought. Let me just allow that to gently and effortlessly pass on by. But you also might have the awareness like, this is not a good meditation. And there might be something within you, your ego self, that is buying into that as if it's the truth. So you're aware of that thought, but there's something within you that's still hooked into that as if it's the truth. I invite you to be aware of that without needing to fix or change it or get rid of it or analyze it or follow it or any of that. Because you are not that. You are the one that is aware of that. And that doesn't require any physical form whatsoever to have that awareness. No. It's empty, nothingness, conscious awareness. It's beautiful, loving, conscious awareness. That's all. I sometimes have these moments where I'm just in conscious awareness and I feel at peace. I don't feel any struggle with life at all. I don't need the world to be any different than what it is, because I see all that's required of me is to simply be aware of it. Simply be aware of all the thoughts and beliefs and feelings I have about myself and the world. And when I'm witnessing that without judgment, there is peace. And judgment is the difference between our ego self when it has an awareness and our core self, which when it is aware, there is no judgment. And that's why it doesn't need anything to be any different than what it is, because it sees that all of it is exactly the way where it needs to be. And it has trust and faith. Everything is in perfect and divine alignment. And that's why our true self can not only experience peace, but is peace itself. Even as we have this conversation, the thought again presents itself that I'm aware of, that says, I feel bad of how I shared with my brother. I am also aware of the feeling that I feel bad. And so my ego self hooks into that and is aware of the thought, but still feels bad. My true self is aware of the thought and aware of the feeling and recognizes that I am neither. And therefore there is peace. And I also recognize that because there's certain beliefs that we hook into more than others, sometimes we will have that thought many, many times because it's just emptying itself out so that we can return to the empty truth of who we are, the conscious awareness of who we are. I feel good about what's coming through right now. There is a lot of potential that is here right now in this moment. And I would even invite you to listen to this meditation over again if this isn't fully resonating with you, what I'm sharing. Because there is, like I said, there is really good juice in here. And life and God are on your side. Life and God are on your side, and everything that is being reflected back to you from life, from the world, from the universe, even though the mind and the ego judges as bad, it's absolutely perfect and is offering you an opportunity to let go of this false identification. Let go of these illusions. And what happens beyond all of the illusions? What happens when we completely empty out all of our fears, all of our judgments, all of our blame, all the past of the shame and guilt that we've carried? What would happen if all of it was gone? What would remain? The emptiness of who you are. The one who is conscious and aware of all of it. That's you. You are the one that is just simply conscious and aware. There's nothing more to it. There's no physical body. There's no physical mind. You are simply the one who is aware of all of it. Aware of the body, aware of the physical mind, aware of the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings, the five senses. You're aware of the experiences. You are awareness itself. And I love this teaching so much because I'm hearing myself say I, and the ego will, the egoic self that has some awareness can sometimes intertwine with our core self. And it's okay. It's okay, because the truth is, my core self, my ego self, the one who is moving more into awareness, is aware that I want good for all of you. My true self is only good, is only love, is only peace, is only joy. And it doesn't need you to have a good experience or a so-called bad experience, because it's not caught in the duality of the mind of good and bad. It simply accepts and flows with the perfection of life. So I'm feeling right now just to come back to being conscious and aware of your breath. You are the witness of the breath. You are the witness of the thoughts when they come in. And maybe your small self, maybe your ego self will have an awareness, and you'll be pulled into the thought or with a feeling that follows it, and you know it, you're hooked into it as if it's the truth. If a feeling follows it, that a feeling of frustration, disappointment, anger, or it could be a good feeling. It could be a good feeling, of which I invite you to let that go as well, because it's not about good or bad feelings. It's about simply moving and transcending the mind, so that the only thing that's left is your core self, which is peace, which is love, which is joy. So just being conscious and aware of your breath. And of course, the thoughts will probably come in, and that's perfect. It's perfect. Some people say I didn't have a good meditation, or I had a good meditation, based on whether their mind is busy or still. It could be that the absolutely best meditation for you is to have a busy mind and simply be conscious and aware of that. And your mind might go off on a tangent for 10 minutes. But then when you come back to the moment, it doesn't matter that whether your mind was, whether you were unconscious for 10 minutes or 10 years. All that matters is you've come back to the present moment. It's like hitting the reset button over and over, because what happened in the past becomes absolutely irrelevant. And I mean that. It could be 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago. When you come fully back to the present moment where you were conscious and aware, all the past disappears. That's why we invite you to let go of all your past and all the future. There's only this moment, and when you come back to this moment, this present moment, all the past and future are absolutely irrelevant. What is relevant? Being conscious and aware of all of it. And that's why we say, don't try to still the mind. It's not about stilling the mind. It's about being conscious and aware of the happenings of the mind, or the happenings of life itself. And the mind naturally begins to still itself as you let go of all these old stories and beliefs. But that's also why the mind is busy. It's here to remind you of when you are trapped in an illusion in some way. And so again, I just invite you to become conscious and aware of your breath. When the thoughts come in, notice them, and then just like a cloud passing by, just let them pass on by without fixing or changing them, or trying to still the mind, or doing self-talk like, oh, I shouldn't be talking that way. You're a good person, Brett. Oh, you are worthy. You deserve God. It's not necessary. It's not necessary when you recognize that the thoughts are not you and are not real in the first place, so there's no sense in giving them any energy and empowering them in any way whatsoever. And so now I just invite you to practice being conscious and aware of your breath. And when your mind drifts, perfect. As soon as you are aware of that, just come back to being aware of your breath. And if your mind has drifted, just allow the thoughts to pass on by and gently and effortlessly come back to being aware of your breath. And if your mind has drifted, again, just returning to the present moment, which is returning to conscious awareness, the one who is simply being aware of the breath. And as you meditate, you might be aware that sometimes we lose the sense of our physical body, like I just lose the sense that it's here. My mind says, well, of course it's here. But there's also the part of us that comes to an awareness of losing the sense of our body. And this is an excellent time for us to be aware that what is able to just simply observe and notice the physical body, the physical form, and know that we are not that. As if you're ever to truly fully be rooted in the core of who you are, you have to let go of all ideas of who you think you are, including that you are your physical form in any way. So I just invite you to let go of that belief, if you carry it at all, and come back to being aware of your breath. And returning to the present moment, and just noticing the breath as it gently flows in and gently flows out all by itself, not requiring any trying or effort or doing, nor does this meditation require that. Just simply noticing the breath. just coming back to the present moment again. Back to simply being a witness of the breath, which connects you with your true self. A witness of the breath, a witness of the thoughts, and a witness of all of life. Just coming back to the present moment. And we're going to begin to bring this meditation to completion. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I noticed I'm starting to doze. So for those of you who would like to meditate longer, please mute or turn your device off. And thank you for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. And for those of you who are ready to finish, just taking in a nice deep breath. And just re-energizing this physical form that helps you to get around in this life, and maybe wiggling it, stretching it. And taking your time, and whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. And I'm going to go over to Facebook and just see if anybody has said or wants to say hi. And I see Laura Westerland. Hi, Laura. Thanks for joining. So glad you're able to make it. Hi, Michelle. Good morning. Good morning, my friend. And I know on the other one, Cheryl Gronset was on there. So, Cheryl, good morning to you. On my other Facebook, which went for 3 or 4 minutes before I shut you guys down. Accidentally, by the way. Let me just go over to YouTube real quick also and just see if anybody wants to say hi over there. And if there's any questions, comments, of course, always. Let me just go over to you and I'll mute that, and I'll give it just a moment there. Sandy, I know sometimes you like to post things on there if you're here, and if not, let's see here. And Sandy, filled with teachable moments. I appreciate the journey of learning. Yeah, thanks for joining me, Sandy. I really appreciate it. So I think that's about it, you guys. This is good stuff. So, and then Cheryl, I went back over. Thanks. Yeah, that was weird. Sorry. Yeah, I was on my software device and it says start streaming, which I had already started. And I went back over there and said, I thought it said start streaming again, and I clicked on it, it was stop streaming. So I wiped you guys all out and had to come in fresh and new. So sorry for that. Thank you for joining, you guys. Zoom tomorrow night at 7. I also have my talk tomorrow with Unity of Livonia, the recorded talk. And Cheryl, maybe I'll see you on Zoom on Sunday, although I've got a Muji retreat this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday is my birthday, 61, big bones. So anyhow, thanks for joining, you guys. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.